Welcome back to the 2-in-1, and today I'm taking a look at the Boston Celtics, going over whether or not I think they should pursue a trade for Bradley Beal. But before we get into that topic, just a quick question for those of you viewing. Comment down below, yes or no. Do you think Jayson Tatum will ever win an MVP in the NBA? Comment down below, yes or no, and I'll give my answer at the end. But getting straight into it, should the Celtics pursue Bradley Beal? 100%. You pair him up with Jayson Tatum, you have one of the best duos in the NBA. No doubt about it. But that's much easier said than done as we know it. To me, the answer for if you're an NBA team of whether or not you should trade for Bradley Beal is if you're good, if you're one piece away from possibly making a championship run, then yes. And unfortunately for the Celtics, there's going to be a lot of teams that think they're one piece away. Mavericks, Heat, Knicks, Hawks, Lakers, who knows, Warriors, 76ers. There's going to be a lot of teams out there looking to possibly trade for Bradley Beal, so they got to win this. Unfortunately, an easy way to win this trade to me would be to offer Jaylen Brown. I don't think the Celtics should, and I don't think they have to, but if they instantly want to make sure they get Bradley Beal and Jayson Tatum on the same team, Jaylen Brown would be a good name to throw out because that's the best guy I think the Wizards would get in an offer. You know, the Heat's not going to offer Bam Adebayo for Bradley Beal. The Lakers aren't going to offer Anthony Davis. You might get a big name in Ben Simmons if that's still a big name. You might get Kristaps Porzingis, but to me, Jaylen Brown will be the most realistic big ticket, big name guy you would get in exchange for Bradley Beal that I do think the Wizards would say yes to, something along the lines of Bradley Beal in exchange for Jaylen Brown and 2 firsts. That's off the top of my head. I don't know the exact numbers if that would work, but that sounds about right to me. However, if I'm the Celtics, that's my plan Z. I don't want to give up Jaylen Brown. I want to try and form not a great duo of Tatum and Beal. I want to try and form a big 3 of Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Bradley Beal. That would be one of the best big threes in the NBA, and a big 3 is needed now to win an NBA Finals. You know, the LeBron James, Anthony Davis thing, that's an exception. Both of those guys were 2 top 7 players last year. This year, and most years, it takes a big 3. LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Durant, Harden, Irving. They haven't won yet, but we know they probably will. Between the Bucks and Suns this year, one of those big 3 is going to win. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis. Big 3s are needed in the NBA nowadays. It's rare a duo can do it themselves. So the Celtics, that's what I think they'll be pursuing, trying to keep Brown, Tatum, and get Bradley Beal. But it won't be easy, you know. You might have to give up a guy like Robert Williams or a guy like Tristan Thompson or a guy like Romeo Langford or Moses Brown, a guy you just got, or Marcus Smart, a really good defender and just ball handler in general. To me, I think that's worth it. Obviously, if you throw in Romeo Langford, Tristan Thompson, Robert Williams, that's not going to equal Bradley Beal, but if you give enough first-round picks, like I said, Romeo Langford, Tristan Thompson, Robert Williams, and 2 first and 2 pick swaps, they might be up for that. They know they're not going to get a big name for Bradley Beal for a couple reasons. A, Bradley Beal after this season is going to be a free agent and he could just walk. So if the Washington Wizards just want anything out of him for just 1 year, they're going to accept an offer because they're not going to make a championship run this year with him and Westbrook. That's just not going to happen. And they know they're not going to have him in the following season because he's going to just walk. They're going to accept at least something. And therefore, I don't think the Celtics have to give up Jaylen Brown. They could get away with a couple role players and a couple of firsts and not have to make a huge James Harden, Drew Holiday trade where you give them 3 firsts, 4 firsts, your entire bench. Excuse me. 2 to 3 players may do. And if the Celtics can somehow, some way pull off a starting 5 of Marcus Smart, a decent ball handler, but a really good defender. At shooting guard, Bradley Beal, Jaylen Brown, whoever you want to put there. I'd probably put Bradley Beal, Jaylen Brown at small forward, Jayson Tatum at power forward, Al Horford at starting center. That's definitely one of the better starting 5s in the NBA. It's very well-rounded. There's a good amount of depth to it. There's a lot of pure scorers to it. There's some defenders to it. That's a good starting 5 that I'd like. Again, I don't know if you're going to be able to keep Horford and Smart or keep Jaylen Brown. It's going to be hard, but I do think it's possible if you get that starting 5 to make a serious NBA Finals run right away. That's not a hot take by any means, in my opinion, but the hard part and the hot take is getting that lineup to come together and getting Bradley Beal for pennies on the dollar. You have to hope that Washington and Bradley Beal are having a disgruntled relationship and that Jayson Tatum can work his recruiting ways at the Olympics when they play together. They already have a decent relationship, but now when they actually play together, they may want to realize they want to play together for real in the NBA in the season where it counts, and they both won a championship. So I do think it's possible, but they're going to have to do some major finagling to get him for cheap. one of the two things could happen. Either A, Brad Stevens, the new GM, former head coach of the Celtics, is saying, that's too risky for me. My first year, I don't want to put this much on the line. I don't want to put all my reputation as a GM on the line right away. Going big or go home, I get the phrase, but that's just too risky to me, not knowing if this big three will work out. Or it'll be the other way around. Brad Stevens can instantly put his name on the map as one of the best GMs in the NBA by forming this next big three that went on a title run. Either of those two routes, I get it. It is really risky to make that big a move as your first time as a GM, but it's also, do you want that championship ring or not? You got to take some risk at some point in time. No one wins at anything without any risk at all. So you got to look at it the both ways. I'm going to try and make that trade if I'm the Celtics. I want that big three. I want that ring on my finger. That would be what I value more than anything. I'm going to try my best to finagle him without giving up Jaylen Brown, and I think it's very, very possible given the circumstances, but we'll just have to see how it works out. I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys agree or disagree with my take that the Celtics, yes, should pursue it, but they should try as hard as they can to not give up Jaylen Brown? And to me, I still don't think it's super unrealistic that they don't have to give him up. I think it's very realistic that they could keep him, but we'll just have to see. I don't have my GM hat on. I'm not in the front office. I'm not in the NBA knowing how it works to the nth degree. But just from my mind, my perspective, my opinion, I don't think Jaylen Brown is absolutely needed. Who knows, though? You guys tell me. And referring back to the question of the day, do I think Jayson Tatum will win an MVP ever in his career? 100%. Don't know when, but there's no way to me he doesn't win at least one. He's just superb. One thing I liked about him this year, Jayson Tatum took the Nets to 5 games. I know that's a gentleman's sweep. That's nothing to brag about, but he still kept every game competitive. He's dropped 50 points. You bring in Jaylen Brown, maybe it's a 6-game series. You bring in Bradley Beal, maybe it's a 7-game series. Not saying they'd win it, but the game 7, that's anyone's game. And I know I'm getting away from the MVP aspect, but it just shows Jayson Tatum was able to keep them in contention practically by himself. You bring in these extra guys, he'll make it worth your while. He'll get that MVP and he'll get that ring. But you guys tell me. I like what the Celtics might do here, but we'll have to see if it happens. As always, and of course, I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you for watching, guys. 2-minute warning.